That's wonderful because my meeting with Obama, Trump, and Hillary is not until next week. I've got to straighten out the country and that's right. Well, I'm excited to be here. This is just awesome for me, and I am thrilled with the season that we're in. Patricia stole all of my scriptures for my offering time, so I'd like to thank you. I know it's just wonderful to see how God is orchestrating everything. He is so in control right now. I've never been in a time like this. We've never been in a time like this. So I'll tell you a little bit about our story here, but first I want to give some stuff away. I have my daughter she has created this line of workout clothes called Shredded Savior, and it is the kind of Savior you want to save you. He is shredded, and he is big, and he's got his heart exposed with the crown of thorns around the heart, why he died for us. So I'm going to give this away. It's a women's large. Somebody come get it. You got to run up here. It's a workout. Let's work out line. Workout. Give it to her. And this one, David, this is for David because my daughter thinks you should dress differently. So, I also want to give away the dream book. David actually did make this possible for me because, whoa, come on. Here, take this one. Get back there. Can you catch? Oh, no, because I'll give her this. Come here. You get the DVD. This is the DVD that it's Dreams on the Streets of Sundance Film Festival. And so you actually have the book to help you get trained in how to interpret dreams. This was a new thing for me. And then the dream doc will actually help you to learn how to put it into practice. You'll see it on the streets in action. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm from Texas. Just a little history. I was born again in 73 in Dallas. My husband and I both went to Christ for the Nations. So, and then I went into Agape Force. So it was a ministry, real, nitty gritty kind of grassroots evangelistic thing. And then we've pastored for 30 years. Yeah, right? Yeah, when people come up and go, I want to pastor, I want to go in the ministry, I'm like, can we talk? And on top of it, we moved to Utah. And I thought they were a choir. I thought the Mormons were a choir. I had no idea. I'm from Texas, I just saw their music. I was like, yeah, it's a choir lives there, I think. So we ended up pastoring most of our churches in Utah, and it was quite an experience. I have to say. So we've kind of been around for a while, and I wanted to give you a little background so that you know that we're in that season of life now when we've watched God do so many miracles, but we're in a shift. How many know that? We are in a huge shift. And I want to tell you a dream that my husband had because for the longest time we couldn't figure it out. Now, the dream anointing or the dream thing that I call it kind of started happening with us in the 90s. We had a visitation for 8 small years. We were on the Oregon coast pastoring out there. And we got to host a revival, a mini revival. And during that time in Oregon, my husband and I both started having prophetic dreams. And we knew they were from God. We just didn't know what they meant. And so we were trying everything, First I thought it was a diet issue, like we got to lay off the ginger root and but we started having these prophetic dreams and No kidding. It was like that kind of, like God's presence was in the room, but we're like scratching our heads. And Larry Randolph is a friend of ours, and he happened to come to Oregon at that time, and he said, I literally see angels giving you night deposits, like while you're sleeping. And there were a couple of times when Tim and I dreamed the same dream. So we knew that we were onto something, right? But we needed to figure it out. We need to understand, why are we getting these messages? Well, so I did connect with John Paul Jackson, and bless his heart, he was a very dear friend to me, and I took all of his courses and wanted to learn, but he was very intellectual, and it was way over my head. And even in our advanced dream interpretation course, when he was giving us trial dreams to interpret, I got them so wrong, he quit calling on me. I'm not kidding. It was that bad. I'd raise my hand and he'd turn and look the other way. Yeah, that was my intro. And I was like, I think I've got it this time, and he's like, So with my preschool dream interpretation skills, I decided I've always been an evangelist. I've always wanted people. I'm always on search and rescue. That's why I go to the places I go. And I'm always looking for ways to, whatever God gives me, I want to use it on the street. I want to find a way to get into the heart. I want to find a way to build a bridge. I want to find a way to lower a bridge. I want to find a way to endure with someone until they find a message or they feel something of God's love, because I just can't stand it that they don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So I decided that I would host a dream interpretation team for the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, a world event. It's great. We had 27 of us that didn't know what we were doing. And on top of that, we were like, we're going to get media coverage. We were all like, we're going to get one of those athletes, and there's going to be, like ESPN interviewing them, and we're going to walk up and we're going to say, have you had a dream? And they're going to say, well, yes, I did. I had a dream the night before, and this is the kind of how we pictured in our mind. And yeah, it was funny. It was really funny. And I was so frustrated because I couldn't get in. I mean, sometimes I would keep a person like at a coffee shop for about 2 hours trying to interpret their dream. And finally they'd say, I have to go. Right? So I'm like, this isn't working out. So we had decided that we would we would actually make an appointment with a bar/restaurant that we come in and do free dream interpretation during the Olympics, free for the Olympics. We want to be able to, give back to the world what we've, so they had a sign up in the foyer of their restaurant and said, the dream interpreters will be here tonight. And by that time, by 5 days into it, I was like, I don't want to go out. Don't make me go. This is not good. And so I stewed all afternoon. I was back and forth. I was like, God, please don't make me go. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I don't ever want to do it again. Well, at least for a week. I won't make another mistake for a week, maybe, but you never know. So I just went ahead and I said, we're just going to do it. Just take paper and a pen and have it. I just instructing the team, just bring it, just write down things that you think. And I'm not kidding you. I put my hand on the door of that place to go in, and the Holy Spirit spoke to me and he said, will you chill out? I know how to do this. I mean, that's how it went. That was my intro into dream interpretation. And then, of course, we have the church, and they were questioning and wondering, and Charisma magazine had gotten a hold of it because of the Olympics, and they did an article on us, and John Paul had called and said, just be yourself, and he says, well, I mean, what I mean is, yeah. I said, I know what you mean. I'll cool it. I'll chill. I'll be nice. I won't say anything to embarrass you. I'll try not. Well, but But anyway, so the article went really well. It was very well done, very, very tasteful. But I got a call in the middle of my outreach from a pastor, and he was up in the Washington area, and he said to me, I read your article in this Charisma magazine, and I just have to tell you that, you're doing dream interpretation for the Olympics. And he said, well, that's very controversial, and I don't believe in it. And without even thinking, it came out of my mouth, well, I'm not trying to reach you. I'm like, you're saved. And I mean, I just didn't, you know how it goes. And I thought, I'm trying to reach people that would never come to church, that wouldn't come in the door, right? So that was my intro into how this all started. And it really kind of got good because we had to practice. So what we decided we would do, my little team, bless them, they're still alive. And they, and we're in, they were in Utah. And so we had about 8 of us. And we decided that we would go into our New Age bookstore. And we would be their dream interpreters. And we said, we're practicing, we're learning to interpret dreams, which of course they're all over that. Now, remember, I got saved in 73. So I was not into any of the arenas I have gone into. I wasn't into porn, I wasn't into New Age, I wasn't into paganism, I wasn't into any of it, nothing. Burning Man, that'll be Saturday. I'll talk about that, but it's a pagan festival in the Black Rock Desert of Nevada, and this will be 12 years. And so I went into the New Age store, and I said, we need to practice interpreting dreams. And they said, well, why don't I get some of my friends, this is the head of it, why don't I get some of my friends, and you can interpret our dreams, and we'll see how good you are. And I thought, oh, no. We're practicing, Well, we got together, our little dream team, and we prayed, and we asked the Lord to give us interpretation of dreams and tell us even before what their dreams were. And he did. So we not only had the interpretation of the dream, we knew what the dream was before they told us what it was. And he was scratching his head. He said, I have never met anyone as gifted, no one like this. And I said, yeah, I bet, right? I bet you haven't. So he said, how many dreams do you need to be able to qualify for whatever your, master certification? And I said, well, we need like 1,000. Which kept our dream team in their New Age store 2 Thursday nights a month for 2 years. He said, we have a mailing list of 18,000 people, so we're going to send it out. And people were lining up on a Thursday night to come and have their dreams interpreted. And we were able to communicate Jesus in a whole arena that was searching for the truth, the way, the life, but they didn't know that that's what they wanted. Yeah. And that was our start. And in between that time, we felt like we're just onto something. This is just so good. I mean, you can't put a dream sign up anywhere that people just don't line up to get in it because they want to have their dreams interpreted. They've been dreaming. And so we, understood that Joel 2:28 is a real thing. In the last days, he's going to pour out his spirit on all flesh. Your young men and women will see visions. Your old men and women will dream dreams. Well, how old is old? 5? I don't know. Some of the younger people, like, 19, 20, and they're college-age students, my goodness, they're having 4 and 5 dreams a night. And they're telling. They give us information. And people would say, well, is every dream from God? No, but God made every dreamer. So even if we don't have necessarily a God-given dream, we will have the ability to speak into the life of someone who's just had a dream that they're also formed by God, right? So it's been a real great tool of evangelism. It's been nothing like I've ever seen before. And what I wanted to tell you, the dream that my husband had was so significant because in this dream, he was trying to get to water. He'd been on a if you can picture a lake bed or a water bed, and the water had receded out. So he was trying to get to water because he associated in the dream water with refreshing. And he thought, if I can get to that water, I will be refreshed. Something will happen to me. And so he was going out, and all of a sudden he sunk down in the mud, waist deep, and he couldn't get himself out. And he was literally, the sun, he said, was going down. What does that tell us? It's the end of the day. The sun is going down. He's waist deep in mud trying to get to water. And over his shoulder, he looks, and Jesus is coming in the clouds on a white horse, suspended in air. And he thought it was clouds all around him, but they were angels. And so the Jesus was coming, suspended in air. And he said, in the dream, he felt like, how we've pictured Jesus in the past. Oh, he's so loving and merciful, and he is. But in this dream, he was absolute authority, absolute holiness, absolute power. And he felt like if God doesn't want me out of this clay, I'm not getting out. If he wants to take my breath in that moment, I'm gone. That was how intense it was. And he said, all of a sudden, an angel broke away from where Jesus was, came down, picked him up out of the clay, set his feet on foundation, right? Solid foundation. And he looked at this angel, and the angel gave Tim a message in the dream. And the message was, look for the woman whose face is, and then the angel took his hand like this in a claw and went across his face. Look for the woman whose face is. And we were like, what does that mean? We were pastoring. Is it a woman? Has she been in travail? Was she in a wreck? Is she disfigured? We went for like 6 months trying to figure this out. And we're supposed to be good, right? We're practicing. We have 1,000 dreams. We're supposed to. And we were scratching our heads. We had no idea what that was. And someone came to town who was also learning to interpret dreams, and he said, let me pray about it. And the next morning, he called us up, and he said, I think I have the interpretation of your dream. He said, the woman is the church. And the message from Jesus, or from the angel from Jesus, in the dawning of time, or the end of time, when things are getting ready to close down, is look for the church whose face or image is in transition, or changing, or shifting. There's a shifting and changing face of the church, because faces is that's what identifies you. That's why when you have reels on the news and you don't have permission to use their image, they will blur out your face because it identifies you. Look for the church whose identity, whose image is changing. And Jesus is making us more like him. He's teaching us how to love. He's teaching us how to be compassionate. He's teaching us how to, by love, serve one another. He's teaching us how to have the same mind that was also in Christ Jesus, that we all have it. And I thought, this is amazing. Like, we are there. We're watching God begin to stir things up because he's got a world that he wants us to go get. And he wants to teach us about his character by relationship that we have with him. And it's a new level of intimacy like we've never had before. This is all cool. And not only do you feel it, they feel it. So they feel it, then you feel it. And I'm talking about people in the street. I'm talking about people at Burning Man and in the porn convention. They feel what you feel. They feel that. They want it. They're coming after you. They want to know, why are you so loving? It's been a real encouragement. It's been a real honest to goodness eye-opener because, when I was born again, what we did was we passed out tracts and we preached to them, right? And that was in the 70s. And I was saved in the Jesus movement. So there was a literal movement that took place. You could feel it in the air. Everyone was getting healed and miracles were happening and everything. People's legs were growing out, cancers were leaving, the whole bit. And while we still see that, and we still have that, because it does happen, I'm telling you, on the streets, everywhere we go, we watch people get healed. But there's a shift in the church in that God is launching all of us And he's saying, I want you to be in step now with the culture, with the mind, with what's going on, what I'm doing and where they're at. What I'm doing and where they're at. What I think and then what they think. So I've had to go out and learn to listen. And part of my interpreting skills, when I felt like I was really getting a handle on it, is when I learned to listen to hear instead of learning to listen to respond. I listened to hear instead of listening to respond with my next thing. And that's when everything began to become clear. That's when things started to really happen for me. And it's been a real great adventure. I remember we've done the Sundance Film Festival for about, on and off for about 14 years. We've done Burning Man Festival. This will be 12 years for me. And when I tell you about it on Saturday, you're going to pray, you're going to put your hands out, you're going to say, don't go. No, I'm just kidding. It's just really dusty and dirty. Our hair stands straight up on its end. We don't wash it all week long, It's really funny. Oh, yeah, pick me, right? But Caleb goes with us every year. It's just amazing. I'll tell some stories about Burning Man on Saturday, but I've done the pagan festivals. I never saw myself going into those things. And we've watched witches shut down their booth and come and get in our line because the power of God is so strong. Patricia and I actually went to, we went to the New Age store in Arizona, and people were just lined up, and we were just having fun. Jesus was showing up and showing himself to them, and it was amazing what was happening in some of these places. And so I'm just telling you that we've got a golden opportunity right now. We've got an opportunity to reach into the very heart of what's going on in our culture. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to lose these kids. I don't want to lose them. I don't want them going off in different directions because there's no fabric of morality that's being given to them hardly at all. The reason why I know part of this is because a year ago, my daughter and my grandchildren moved back to Utah from Chicago. And so she's got 4 kids, and so that draws all the neighborhood kids. How many know that? A whole yard full of kids. You don't even have to fish. They're just right there. And so while they were, playing together, getting to know each other, and everyone was introducing themselves, and playing around, and I would sit on the deck, and I would overhear conversation coming from some of the children that were living in some of the housing around the corner from us, or and their moms were, addicted to drugs, or they were, working nighttime jobs, and they had live-ins, and they had everything else. And some of these children, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids, had conversation that just should not be coming out of the mouths of some of the kids. So when I started to investigate and realize, that our children are now being they're just being taken away by all these different things. And they have, of course, the phone is a big deal, and porn sites are just readily available. So I want to give you some statistics, and then I'm going to tell you a couple more stories because I'm full of stories. Full of stories. I'm not even kidding about that. I could keep you here all night. But here's some statistics. This was just last year on one porn site that is actually present in the porn convention that we go into. Last year alone, 4,392,486,580 hours of porn were watched on this channel alone. That is 2.5 times longer than people have been on the earth. 21.2 billion visits, and that's just a free porn channel alone. That's not even to talk about the ones that people pay for. So, and we've got children now that have access to these kinds of things because largely they're unsupervised. So, we decided that we would go into the convention. And it was kind of funny how God led me to do that. I thought that if I'd gone to Burning Man, that I had enough understanding of all the weird stuff that people could do, that I could go into a porn convention. But because I'd never been in it before, it was shocking. It took my breath away, honestly. And in order to sign up, that was kind of humorous in itself because I had to tell them what I do in porn. So they said, are you into merchandise? Are you talent? Are you media? Are you, and the only thing I could find on the whole list of them was an investor. So I put down that I'm an investor in porn. And they said, what other events have you been to? Have you been to erotica? Have you been to this? Have you been to that? And I was like, I've been to Burning Man. So I put that down. And they're like, okay, you can come in. So I'm walking around with an investor badge on me, trying to find a way to encourage people to tell me their dreams. And I thought, well, there's a loaded one right there. I mean, you never know what they're going to. But what I found out was that some of the young girls, they'd had dreams that they'd had from when they were 5 and 6 years old. And I'm a mom, and they knew it. So we would walk around. We knew that they were working. We had to be very careful and very, kind of a little bit goofy, so that they didn't suspect what we're doing. And we went in there, and they would open up to us, and they would tell us their dream, which then gave me a few minutes just to speak into their life. Then I began to build relationship with them. And it was interesting that we began to, Jesus is and always has been and always will be a friend to sinners. He's a friend of them. He is a friend to them, and he is desperate to have them know him. And so we would go in, and now they've gotten to where I know their names, their real names, and they'll hug me, and we have a relationship that we've built. And sometimes because of the dream aspect, I can actually go in and remember their dream that they told me because I listened and it went right into my spirit. You know what I'm saying? So now I can remember it. I'm like, I remember you. You had the dream about your grandmother, and it was in her house, and it was this and that. And she's like, oh, I'd forgotten I told you. I said, yeah, I know, right? I didn't. I remembered you had it. Now, what's going on in your life? And now the bridge is already lowered, so I'm already able to talk with her. Do you see what I'm saying? It was an investment. You're talking about investments. So it was really cool the way God's been having us run after this thing. The porn convention is not the only place where we're getting a hold of some of these kids. At the Sundance Film Festival, we actually created the documentary, and we did that because everyone out there had a camera but us. And so somebody they said, well, let's get a camera. So I said, well, okay, you put it on your credit card. That was until I heard you tonight, and now I could. And so he went ahead and got a camera, and we were walking the streets of the Sundance Film Festival because we were making a documentary which we had no idea how to do. And at one point, I'm sure we had the camera upside down. I mean, it was that kind of bad. And people but that we found that they would open up and tell us their dreams. Well, there was a really cool, because these are movie makers. A lot of dreams are given in, our movies are given in dreams. So it was a shoo-in, right? And in fact, when we completed the documentary, we submitted it to Sundance because we wanted it to be one of their submissions for their festival, which is in Utah, which is in Park City, Utah. Robert Redford, how many know who that is? Right. It's his deal. So we submitted it, and they turned it down. So we just rented a screen during the festival and showed it ourselves. Sure enough. And the girl goes, I'm not even supposed to do this, but I'm going to give you a screen for $500. I said, sold. So we got marketing. We put it up and down the streets, and we showed this film, and it's all about God honoring. It's all about people getting life. It's all about them coming alive with something that was packed inside them that they didn't even know about. And so we had lines of people to come in and get into the Dream documentary showing. And so much so that they wanted a repeat showing, but we didn't have another screen available to us. So they went to the Sundance box office to get tickets to a movie that Sundance turned down. Now Sundance is coming after us. Who are you? You're talking about a dream documentary. It was really funny. And so what happened was we had some movie producers and different ones that saw the film, and they said, well, this probably won't really ever go anywhere because of the editing and the lighting and the volume and this and that and whatever. And while they're talking to us about it not going anywhere, our producer and director, who's the daughter of the one who created the Dog Whisperer, and she gets a phone call from Hollywood. And they said, your movie's just been selected for First Glance Hollywood. And on top of it, it went in there and it won an award for editing. Don't mess with the dream doc. And then it went on to win 8 different awards from all over the place that we didn't even know about. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that, we've been given something that's really cool. The dreams are a key in the door. They're the best fishing lure we've got in the box right now. If we're going to talk about fishing. It's the other side. It's the one that will catch. It's the big net. It's the one that will catch them from the other side. And it'll lower a bridge because people don't trust anymore. And because they don't trust, they're not going to trust you. They don't trust anything you say. They've been hurt and wounded, and they're not going to lower the bridge. But if you're interpreting a dream and the difference is, if you have a prophetic word for someone, you're telling them something, and there's a chance they may or may not want to hear it. If they're telling you a dream, they're telling you something. They've lowered the bridge. Does that make sense? And now you're just putting a second pair of eyes on it. And you're like, tell it to me. That was really cool. We had this young guy that came in. He had 6 of his friends with him, 5 or 6 of them. And he was one of those guys that was probably in his late teens, early 20s. And we had our camera and we were filming. And he came in and he was the guy. He was the dude. He was the big man on campus. He was the one. He had all of his friends, So he came in and he used the word like a lot. And he said, well, I had this dream and I was in my car and I had a wreck and I died in my dream and I found myself before the judgment seat of Christ. And I was there was 2 lines and there was one going to hell and one going to heaven and I was in the middle. And he goes, am I going to die? And I went, yes. I'm we're all going to die. His friends were like, dude, you're going to die? And I said, we're all going to die. And I said, the good news is you get to figure out which line you want to be in before you die. You saw a line going to heaven, one going to hell, judgment seat of Christ. And he goes, well, I don't really believe in God. Yeah. And I got 5 inches from his face. And I went, well, dude, it was your dream. It was awesome. That guy told all of his friends about heaven, hell, judgment seat of Christ, life after death. It was awesome. I can't make that stuff up. And we have it on film. It was so fun. There's other ways, to be able to reach in, because if you listen to the way people are wired and you hear the Holy Spirit, God will tell you what to say to them, no matter what. I was in a little mining town in California, and we decided that we'd do some dreams, and it was a real spiritually active little town. So there was all kinds of new agey stuff, and all these little things. And I walked into this one place, and it was an artist, and she had all this beautiful glass and all this. And so I walked in artwork and different things. And I walked in and she had on just all kinds of colors and different things. And over her head, I saw purple and blue. Now, most people would say, oh, that's an aura. No, it's not. It's just colors over her head. It was like God is a many-colored light. I mean, he tells us. He just kind of gave me an insight into what she likes. And she immediately, it arrested her attention, and she goes, I love purple and blue. And she goes, I'm the goddess of something or another. She gave me some nonsense answer. And I'm looking at her like, you are? Like, wow. And the Lord spoke to me, no kidding, God spoke to me in that moment and said, she speaks fairy tale. And I went, oh, okay. So, this is a true story. And so I looked at her and I went, oh, I'm reminded of a story while you're saying this, of a king that had a son. And the son was so much in love with the kingdom that he died. He decided he would pierce himself and he would allow the blood in the healing ointment flow out of his hand. And I put it on her heart because I felt my hand get hot. And I was like, and she's going, right? And the son died for the kingdom because he loved it so much. And the healing went through her. And she's weeping, going, whoa, I feel that. I said, I know. So good. She speaks fairy tale. My point would be, go with it. God will give you, I'm sure, don't you think, honestly, he's probably sitting there going, come again, getting the angels, get over here. You've got to watch this one. Popcorn, the whole thing. This one's going to take us out. This is funny. Let's put her over here. Yeah. I mean, it's just been like that. My whole trip has been that way. Since I started following the Lord and doing the dream stuff and all that. And God told me, he said, I want you to run with the dream thing. And I said, what is it? And he says, learn to interpret people's dreams that they have at night. And I said, why? And he said, because my people are going to hell. And I was like, what? Like me? And he was like, my people, the ones I died for, the ones I sent Jesus to die for, they're going to hell. And I was like, I'll do it. Remember when we were saying go? Will you go? I'm like, of course I will go. Went to the pagan festival. That was fun. We were the only booth out there without a pentagram, besides a food booth. The only one. We had dream seekers. They're like, what is it? And we're like, yeah. We have a menu board because we have to meet them and scratch the itch and, begin to speak their language. So we would, at Burning Man at different places, we have menu items on our board and we use it everywhere we go. And it's things like original root recovery. Organic spiritual alignment. Spiritual cleansing and redefinement. That's deliverance. It is. We have a really cool thing we do, and we use this everywhere we go. You can use this anywhere. And why I'm telling you this is because you don't have to go all over the world to do this. You can do this right here. You can do this in any art walk, any street fair, any of the things, and it's called True Reflections. And you get a full-length mirror, $5 Walmart. And have them sit in a chair, and you stand with the mirror. And you go, okay, tell me everything you see when you get up in the morning. What do you see? And they're like, well, they tell you all the negative stuff, right? So you stand with them, and you just flip it all around. Well, here's what I see. And they start to cry. And then pretty soon they're like, how do you know that? Because I know the one who wired you. I know the one who put you together. It's really cool. We did this, I'll tell you about the pagan festival. I'm jumping tracks. I've got this plate and this one and this one. I know, right? The pagan festival was a kick. We had, because we couldn't be obviously Christian in there, they would run us out. If we came out with Bibles, you know, the big ones that you put on the coffee table, you know, come over here and let me tell you about, or we had any God language or Bible talk at all, they would run us out. They just wouldn't put up with it. So what we did was we put a bowl in the middle of the table, and because we don't charge for what we do, we just call it organic giving. You can stick the word organic on anything right now. Organic healing, organic giving, organic words of life, organic, everything's organic. I want that. It's pure, it's real. Yes, it is. So we had organic giving, and we had a bowl in the middle of the table, and it said, help us go to Burning Man. Well, it just tripped them up. They're like, well, you're too weird to be Christian, and you're too light to be dark. We just don't know what you are. And we're like, well, we'll keep it that way. So, but at the end of the night, you know, when we finished with our ministry time, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, but we had something like $450. So the pagans paid the Christians to go to Burning Man to tell people about Jesus. I'm like, we're going. So when we would have people sit down in front of us, it was really interesting because, you know, oftentimes it's just all about their mind. It's about what they're going for. It's about their, you know, whatever. Well, Jesus he gave us all authority. All authority has been given to us. And we are partakers of the divine nature. So we contain life on the inside of us. So every dark word, every negative word is eaten up, swallowed up by life words. Because the power of life and death is in my tongue. So they come in there, they have their shrunken heads and all their, you know, pentagrams and all that, and I just grab all that stuff off their neck. You know, what is that stuff? And I just hold it so it couldn't get a hold of them, right, while I'm talking. Well, there was this one girl that came in, and this is the fun part. I'm trying to tell you how fun it can be, because so often we get afraid of evangelism when we think we can't go do that. Oh, I get so theatrical. And you get freedom to do it. It's funny. It really is. I've got all this stuff in my hand, you know, and this girl comes in and she goes, my name is Ruth, and I'm a Wiccan, and I'm going to this level and that level, and I've done this and that. And I said, really? So I said, are you familiar with the significance of your name? And she goes, no. And I said, okay. And she goes, well, I read the book of Ruth. And I'm like, so? We're at a pagan festival, remember? So I'm like, wise as a serpent. So I went, help me out. Book of Ruth. She goes, you know, the book of Ruth. And I went, and she goes, the Bible, in the Bible. Loving it, loving it. So I went, okay, whatever. So that's what I did. I literally brushed her off. And then all of a sudden I saw her brain, and I saw underneath her scalp, I could see black moss growing in her brain matter. So what I did was I'm holding the stuff with one hand, right, the pentagrams and all the stuff, and I've got my hand on her head. I said, I'm going to put my hand on your head, and I'm going to ask for light to come in and begin to illuminate, take the moss and take the fog out. I just called it like I saw it, right? And I'm watching this stuff dissipate under my hand. And all of a sudden, she's blinking, and she's going, what? And I said, oh. So I got really theatrical with her because I felt it was time. And I let this happen for a few minutes, right? And I said to her, who is your spirit guide? She goes, well, I really don't have one right now. It's interesting that you would ask. I bet it is. And I said, okay, I think I'm getting something. And I just reeled her in. How many have ever been fishing? The big ones, you got to give them a little slack, roll them back in. Remember how my mom was a bass fisherman? So I was giving her some slack, reeling her back in. Finally, I said, I think Jesus should be your spirit guide. She said, why? And I said, because you're already tracking. You read the book of Ruth. She goes, what? And I said, yeah, right? Didn't play into it. And she goes, I said, give me your hand. And she goes, can we do this now? I said, yes, we can do this now. This is at a pagan festival. This is at a place where everybody had everything going. And finally, the power of God, because of where we go, and the presence of God and the angelic help, and we've got intercessors on board, and we've got people who can handle the stuff. They shut down their booth, and they came over, and they said, we cannot compete with this. I love it. It doesn't matter where the Lord asks you to go. Wherever he wants you to go, he will supply you. And I think probably the biggest thing is yes, it really does help to interpret dreams. It really does help to learn to do that because God is pouring them out. And they're going to psychics to get them interpreted. And they're God-given dreams. But beyond that, we've just got to be able to just let go and stop being so religious. Just be yourself. Have fun with them. I have fun with everybody. People come into the tent at Burning Man, and they're like, I'd like the white light special. We have that on our menu board. And they're like, and I said, oh, really? Are you sure? And they're like, why? And I said, I got to prepare the chair. And I go, this is going to take a second. You're just going to have to wait for a minute. And I just put my hand down, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, just come and just breathe on this white light special. You know what I found out about the Holy Spirit? I found out that when you're in a group of radical self-expression people, that the Holy Spirit's radically self-expressive. He has so much fun. And then they'll sit down and go, be careful. When you sit, no kidding. Just sit down, just be easy. Just take it in, drink it in, prepare yourself, let your mind go. Clear your mind, free your mind. And they're like, okay. And then we'll go, would you like to have an encounter with the Spirit of truth? No, lie to me. So they'll go, yes. Well, it's by invitation. Just ask Spirit of truth, come. And he does. They go out. They go out. You know, I feel like we're the guys in Mark 2. We're the guys who had the paralytic on the bed. And the way that they were going to go was blocked. There was so many people in the room that they couldn't get to Jesus, so they made another way. That's what we're doing. We're making another way. We're going up the side of the building. We're taking the twigs and the mud off the roof. First, we have to determine where he's at. And then we are creating a new path. We are creating a new way. It is so unorthodox. It's never been done before. We just watch to see, how do you want us to get in? What do you want us to do? And then we wait and we just kind of figure out, we look at them, or God will give us a download, or that's how it happened with the roulette wheel at the porn convention. You know, it was just a download. It's just, what are we going to do? We've never had a booth before, and we didn't have all the toys. So I was like, that's going to look weird, you know? So I just got this download, like we just need to have something that breathes life into them. And I got this idea of a roulette wheel, like it's Vegas. It's Vegas. So, and then I was going to build one, and my friend said, why reinvent the wheel? They're on Amazon. So we got one off of Amazon, and then we got wristbands to match the words that they got. So why don't we, I want to show you just the clip that I showed at Women on the Front Lines in Scottsdale. And then also I want to show you, you know what, can you do the first one, the short one first. Hang on, I want to set this up. In this first one, it's only 2 minutes long, but in this first one, God gave us almost like carte blanche that year. And we got interviews with people that we would never have access to. And in the first little clip you see, you're going to see that we went into the AVN, to the porn convention in Vegas, and we were able to give a word to the girl, China. China was a wrestler. She just died like 2 months ago. But we were able to get a hold of her, and we spent about 15 minutes with her, giving her life and breathing it and telling her that God loved her. We went the God talk all the way with that one. And we didn't know that now this year she was going to die. And then at the end of this 2-minute video, you're going to see a preacher's daughter that we found. Now I don't know how many people, did we say there's probably 25,000 people that go through there? And if you don't know that your steps are ordered by God, this will show you. And then we'll show you the 2-minute one, and then I'll show you the one we showed at Scottsdale.
Something that I wanted to do, but then my family was like, I come from a pastor's family, so I was afraid to like what they would say. But then I'm like, I'm an adult, I'll do what I want to do, and then I just joined the industry.
You're from a Baptist family?
A pastor's family.
Oh, a pastor's family. You're a PK.
Yes, I am.
Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you something. I want you to hear me.
Okay.
The unconditional love doesn't fail.
I know. Okay. Oh my gosh, you could cry.
Unconditional love never fails. And it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. I got Kleenex.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
And you're going to find that God's not left you. Okay, He's never left you. He's never going to leave you. He's never going to forsake you. He loves you just like you are.
Yeah.
Okay? He loves us, listen, in all of our transition and all of the things we go through and all the difficulties and even the choices that we make, right? Okay? And He's still speaking to you.
Yeah.
Okay? He's still speaking to you.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
My husband
really?
and I.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The reason why I said I have Kleenex, and the reason why I tried to get her, she's working. So if her boss or agent or pimp finds out, then it becomes an issue at that point. So I was having to lighten it up, but what happened was she ran off after that and to the bathroom, and she came back and she grabbed my hands. She goes, "I can't do this anymore." And I said, "No, I know you can't." And I gave her my information. I said, "You're probably going to need this." And so our steps are ordered of God. And so when we're in there, we have a brief moment of time. If we blow our cover, if we say things or occupy their time when they're there to make money for other people, we can get into some really bad trouble. We can be blacklisted from doing this kind of outreach. Bobby Connor spoke to me one time, and you know how it is whenever somebody comes to town like that, and you're like, "Pick me, give me a word," you know. And he's just a good friend, and I really never really got one from him, except one time he turned to me just out of the blue, and he goes, "You're an F-22." And I'm like, "What is that?" And he said, "It's a fighter jet." He said, it's stealth and operation. He says, "You can go into the enemy's territory and accomplish your mission and never be picked up on radar." And I was like, "You're right," because I was just starting to do this. So here's the second one, and then I'm just going to pray a prayer over you after this film. Hey, we're here at the AVN Las Vegas Adult Industry Awards. So we have a team of about 30 people. We're going to go in there, we're going to bring light into the darkness, we're going to watch and see how things begin to progress as we unfold destinies of people that they don't see, they don't know, the hidden treasures, things inside them that they're not even aware of. We're the dreamers. We do the interpretation of dreams.
Oh, okay.
And so we have a booth this year.
Oh, nice.
So we're at Muse, and come spin the wheel, get a future forecast, or get a dream interpreted. And we have little gifts and stuff, so it's all free.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, come over here.
I'm glad I did this. Okay.
All right,
What
so
do I do?
tell me about your dream.
Okay, so a couple nights ago, sometimes I dream like I work and then like I don't never get paid. Like it's a fearful thing. Like I don't dance anymore, but I used to strip like a while back. And I'll have these dreams. I don't even dance anymore. But like I dance and I never get my money.
I was having a dream where like someone was in my bedroom and I jump out of my bed like ready to fight whoever it was, like go into fight mode, and then I'd snap out of it and realize no one was there.
There is a fear that you're pouring yourself out and spending yourself on something that's not going to pay out for you in the long run. Do you have that dream a lot?
I've had it a couple times. Yeah.
Night terror,
Basically, like
basically.
it felt so real. Like I'd jump out like.
How
"Someone's in my
old were
bedroom.
you?
I gotta fight this guy.
It felt to me like that in times like that in your life, when you're in a place where it's over your head or a little bit struggling, you know, I feel like you're going to have the knowledge to know what to do.
Okay, but what is all this stuff?
The dreamers, we interpret dreams, and the sweet spot, we actually have a suite this year. And then you spin the wheel and we give you a life message for the year.
Okay, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Gotta do it.
I know you do.
I gotta do it.
Go up there and spin it.
You might need to be in there with the
Okay.
G word.
Yep.
So you love Untitled. There's a band for you.
Okay.
And you know what you're going to find is in this next little while, there's going to be new goals and new things that you're going to
Wait, come here. Come here. I'm not even gonna say anything at all. Can you tell me what you just said to me?
Can I hug you? I'm a mama. Always give out mama hugs. I'm gonna give you a hug. You need a mama hug. You need a mama hug, girlfriend. Come on, yeah.
Gotta be red.
Courage and determination.
Whoa! High five. Come on, I'm almost starting to cry. You gotta spin it, Lisa.
Give me your hand. Let me see what you got. Hey, give me your hand. What's your name again? Austin.
Yeah.
I want to impart some energy so that you will have a really great
I
event.
would love that. Okay,
Right?
I'm ready.
Okay. You're going to have a really great future for this year. There's going to be some new things that you didn't expect that are going to be really good for you. And you know what? There's a lot of healing in there. Yeah? Right?
Oh my God, you're amazing.
Can you feel that?
I do.
Yeah?
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome. So you'll be fulfilling your goals. I mean it. That's what I'm saying. This is good stuff.
Awesome.
I'll come back around, and if you have a dream, I'm happy to interpret it for you. Okay? All right. Okay. Hey, girl. You're going to see it all, man. Yay, huh? And I just want to thank Patricia. Where'd she go? To the bathroom. Patricia, thank you for coming with me. She's gone. Bye. It was really a big deal because I just had her on my heart. You know, I've known Patricia since the 90s, so early 90s, and I just have had such a kindred heart with her, and I love what she does. I love the fact that she's taken all the risks she's taken, you know, to build armies of people. And now I get to kind of come in on the second wave, you know, and maybe recruit you to come and to go into some of these places because we need you. You know, we need you there. We need for you to be able to say, I'm not afraid to go. I'm not afraid. I'll go wherever God wants me to go. So I just want to pray over you guys because I know it's late. I'm almost to 10 o'clock. You told me I could go to 10. That never happens. So I just want to pray for God to awaken your night seasons tonight. I want to pray for God to awaken your heart and let it burn with His for whatever He has for you guys in this next season. I want to ask God to help everyone here, all of us, to make the shift into the new, that we would become the new face of the church. We would become the new expression and the new identity of the church. That Jesus would come and just unload and just unpack our future for us, and to give us a real urgency and an immediacy on the that we say, you know what, we've only got one shot at this. We've only got one shot at this. What are we going to do with it? Let's keep going. Let's go get them. So that's what I want to pray and ask the Lord just to really open you up tonight, that it's just going to be revelation for you in your night seasons tonight. When you're sleeping, when you're resting, that there's an awakening and an awareness coming for what you guys are entering into. It is miracles in the marketplace in more ways than we ever dreamed up. We're going to see some incredible demonstrations of God, and we're going to see some radical warriors that are just going to say, pick me, I'll go. I got nothing to lose. Let's just do this. So God bless you. Thank you for your time tonight.
That was so awesome.